shocking statement. The map that dismantled San Francisco wasn't a street grid. It was a cartel's municipal user manual. Agents seized a server showing 148 trafficking routes disguised in biotech containers and city vehicles, plus the Civic Integration Model Phase 4, a system that looked like city planning but functioned as operational protection. Add $683 million washed through innovation projects and 11 research centers greenlit as supply hubs, comms nodes, and payroll laundries. This isn't one bust. It's the reveal of a designed criminal infrastructure. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Why did a 5:18 a.m. raid on a research institute turn a single breach into a citywide federal surge with 4,200 agents and 19 targets? Because the first stack of doors at Pacific Horizon didn't open into a lab, it opened into a factory. Entry teams cut through mag-locked corridors and found 28 mixing chambers in line, 16 industrial reactors humming on isolated circuits, and conveyor lines feeding pill presses under sound-damped housings. Totes marked as biotech solvents sat on pallets, but the labels didn't match the safety data sheets on file. Vent stacks were oversized for a benign R&D site, and containment rooms had spill berms built for volume, not research. Every step said throughput. The math hit first. Countertops didn't hold benchtop rigs. They held die sets and hopper feeders. Counters showed a pill rate hitting 50,000 an hour with bins of carriers staged to run all day. Tanks of feedstock stood plumbed in parallel, with manifold valves color-coded for quick changeovers. The loading bay had floor scales embedded in concrete and rail sleeves for pallet jacks designed to move tonnage. You don't see that in a small ring. You see that where production and logistics share a clock. Then the map widened. In the Mission District, agents hit a recycling warehouse and took fire from lookouts in scaffolds set above the intake ramp. In the Dogpatch Zone, a DHS entry team reached a biotech suite mid-press cycle, with tablet counters still ticking and operators trying to kill breakers. Down at Bayview, U.S. Marshals caught 2 boats throwing sealed bundles overboard while throttling for the channel, hauling in vacuum-packed cash before it sank. Across Soma, a parking garage hit a bunker built with poured walls and a false lift. Inside, 8.4 tons of precursors were stacked by batch number near racks with 380 weapons and a small panic room wired with burners and drives. The rhythm was the same across scenes. Planned defense, planned flight, planned loss control. Here's why agents read industry, not cottage. A dual-station press with good dies and steady feed will put out tens of thousands of tablets per hour. Scale that across multiple stations, and you pass DEA Superlab benchmarks fast. 16 reactors with proper mixing volumes push reaction runs in batches big enough to justify tanker deliveries. Solvent volumes on site, measured by tote counts and turnover, point to industrial solvents handled by the drum, not the jug. And precursor-to-product ratios, once you spot binders and cutting agents staged in bulk, land in the range tied to large-scale output, not test runs. Those ratios don't lie. Then the server rack spoke. Agents pulled a digital map with 148 corridors running from Northern California to Texas, Illinois, and Tennessee. Routes listed safe houses, bribe calendars, and rapid route days that shifted loads when pressure spiked. Shipments rode under biotech covers, education samples, and city development equipment, and often moved in city-owned vehicles. That kind of disguise works when your network borrows the look and schedule of honest freight. Redundant lanes, planned choke point detours, and clocked handoffs are what you see in real logistics. Built to hide variance, not resist it. At that point, the pattern was clear. Routes that dodge choke points need access to calendars and gate lists. Disguises that pass inspection need the right labels and the right badge at the right hour. Vehicle keys from public fleets don't land in street crews by luck. The raid stopped calling it a lab and started calling it a supply chain wired into city systems. If the engine ran that hard, it needed a shield to run that clean. A shield built with approvals, schedules, and access. So who drafted it, and what playbook did they use? How does a city planning model double as a protection blueprint for narcotics production and distribution? Investigators found the Civic Integration Model Phase 4 on a workstation labeled as Urban Coordination Software. The folder tree carried traffic models, dispatch ladders, and maintenance rosters. Next to it sat 3 encrypted drives in biometric safes and a satellite uplink that handed bursts to an external relay every 6 hours. The software didn't just map streets, it mapped authority. It ingested shift calendars, permit queues, and fleet availability, then proposed efficiency windows that lined up perfectly with covert movement. The uplink kept the clock synced with operators outside the city, and the safes stored route changes keyed to specific personnel. Money gave the model weight. Bank trails showed $683 million routed through 32 shell companies flagged as innovation labs and sustainability pilots. Each moved grant tranches and vendor payments with recurring memos for research, outcomes, and community partnerships. Those shells sponsored 11 approved research centers with clean signage and quiet docks. Inside, pallets of precursors came in as lab solvents, servers mirrored comms nodes, and HR files masked payroll for couriers, watchers, and fixers. The approvals looked routine on paper. Zoning variances for light industrial R&D, permits for chemical storage with low-risk hazard codes, and procurement for emissions abatement gear that doubled as air handling for drug reactions. The network rested on 6 embedded clusters. Police and first responders controlled the siren map. Who rolls, when, and how long a scene stays hot. Port and airport security set gate priorities and inspections, shaping which containers randomly clear. Logistics and trucking arranged yard swaps and after-hours pulls that erase a trail. Building inspections and zoning determined where a door can exist and how often someone checks it. Waste and chemical disposal handled manifests, letting precursors move out as spent solvent or lab byproduct. Warehouse and utility access managed keys, meters, and planned outages that screen movement under legitimate maintenance. City processes became the camouflage. Permitting workflows created quiet lanes. If an address carried an open application and an inspection window, loads moved under review with fewer questions. Inspection schedules, once known, let operators shift stock the day before a visit and stage clean rooms for compliance photos. Fleet routing put city vehicles on the same streets at the same times as shipments, and GPS pings gave cover as coincident proximity. Prior cases have shown how municipal systems can hide illicit trade. Port bribery rings that pre-clear containers, sanitation routes used to mass contraband pickups, and building inspectors paid to delay red tags until loads pass. The playbook here borrowed those tricks and scaled them. The seized route database laid out 148 corridors pushing east to Texas, Illinois, and Tennessee. Each route listed safe houses by alias, bribe calendars pegged to paydays and budget cycles, and alternates that pivoted around construction zones and special events. City vehicles slotted as escorts showed up as meter checks, road patch crews, or environmental testers. Development equipment, graders, lifts, water trucks, blocked lanes just long enough to push a convoy through, then cleared with work orders logged in the system minutes later. The money moved with equal discipline. Shell nonprofits claimed R&D outcomes with thin deliverables and repeat vendors billing the same scope across multiple entities. Invoices looped funds between related accounts, creating round trips that looked like subcontracts. Pay stubs listed consultants who matched courier rosters. Red flags stacked up. Identical invoice language, exact dollar repeats, and grant reports padded with template metrics. The result wasn't growth, it was payroll and protection. Then the trail walked into the mayor's suite. Teams collected 12 encrypted drives, sealed currency, a satellite uplink linked to Guadalajara traffic, and handwritten agreements detailing chemical procurement quotas, revenue splits, and rollout plans for 2 new corridors. The signatures matched travel logs and meeting calendars. The Civic Integration Model. Phase 4 read less like planning and more like doctrine. Every approval, every shell, every cluster mapped to a protection node. The architect didn't build roads. They built the shield around them. With the shield identified, the next move hits hard. Warrants, seizures, resignations, and a city forced to run without its hidden operating system. Now the question isn't who ran it. It's how you restart service when trust itself was the tool. The most dangerous weapon wasn't a reactor or a pill press. It was access, a quiet hand on permits, schedules, and keys that turned public trust into cover. That's what let a city become a mask. Here's what you can do. Demand transparency. Audit approvals line by line. Follow procurement trails through every vendor. Verify research outputs against real work. Protect whistleblowers when the pressure hits. Share this story so more people know the playbook. The fight against corruption doesn't end with a raid. It continues with oversight. When corruption looks like planning, real planning leaves clean books, open doors, and no shadows in the roots.